Today, we're cracking open a case file on a huge environmental crisis that, for a while, had everyone stumped. This is a real-life detective story about a silent, invisible killer and the incredible story of how we actually managed to solve it. So let's start with the central mystery. What in the world was killing our forests? I mean, this was the question scientists and regular people were asking back in the mid-20th century. Something was clearly wrong, but nobody could see the culprit. It was just happening.
And evidence just kept piling up, From all over the globe, it all pointed to some kind of widespread, invisible threat that was literally choking the life out of these beautiful, once thriving ecosystems.
And get this, the clues at the crime scene were all over the place. You had biologists in North America scratching their heads over these crystal-clear lakes that had absolutely no fish. Foresters in Germany were watching ancient trees just wither away. And historians, they were seeing historic statues practically melting. These weren't separate problems. They were all pieces of a much bigger puzzle. Okay, so with the crime scene established, the scientific detectives started piecing it all together. They were looking for that one common link, right? The thing that connected the dead fish, the sick trees, and the crumbling stone. And you know where their investigation led them? Straight up. To the sky.
And there it was. The culprit was finally unmasked. It wasn't some single, simple poison. Nope. It was a chemical reaction happening right over our heads. Our own pollution was turning normal, life-giving rain into a corrosive shower. And when they dug a little deeper, the investigation really zeroed in on two main suspects. You have sulfur dioxide. Think of it as the main offender, coming from all the coal we were burning in power plants. And then you have its partner in crime, nitrogen oxides, which were being pumped out of the tailpipes of our cars and trucks. So how did this whole thing work? It's really a three-step journey from pollution to poison. First, step one, you've got the emission. Factories and cars just pump these gases into the air. Then, step two, they drift around up there, mix with water and oxygen, and chemically transform into nasty stuff, sulfuric and nitric acid. And finally, step three, they fall back down to Earth, often hundreds of miles away from where they even started. All right, so now that we know how it happened, let's talk about the damage. Because the impact wasn't just in one place. It was this systemic attack on, well, pretty much everything. The natural world and our own man-made world, too. To really get a feel for how bad this was, just look at this chart. Remember, the lower the pH number, the more acidic it is. Normal rain is already a little acidic, right around 5.6. But acid rain, it was measuring down at 4.2. That's way closer to lemon juice than it is to pure water. I mean, just imagine a light drizzle of something basically like vinegar falling from the sky on everything. And the destruction was just comprehensive. It got into the water, changing the chemistry so much that fish eggs couldn't even hatch. In the forests, it burned the leaves on trees and stripped all the good nutrients out of the soil. It literally ate away at priceless statues and buildings. And yeah, it even affected our own health, making things like asthma way worse. But here's where the story takes a turn. This is the good part. Faced with this absolute mountain of evidence, this amazing coalition of scientists, activists, and yes, even politicians started to fight back. They were going to stop this acid from falling from the sky. And as you can see from this timeline, this wasn't some quick fix. Not at all. This took decades of hard work. It started with the science in the 70s, which led to a wave of public pressure in the 80s. And that all came together in 1990 with some truly groundbreaking new laws and then the widespread use of new technology. So how'd they do it? They came at it with this really smart two-pronged attack. On one hand, you had policy. They created something called a cap-and-trade system, which basically put a hard limit, a cap, on pollution and made it valuable. And on the other hand, you had technology. Engineers developed these incredible scrubbers that could literally wash the harmful stuff right out of the smokestacks before it ever got into the air. So, after all that, what was the verdict? Did it work? Well, this is the best part of the whole story. The answer is a resounding yes. It's one of those rare and powerful success stories that gives you a little hope, Just look at this number, 93%. Let that sink in for a second. That's the reduction in the main pollutant causing acid rain in the US between 1990 and 2019. That's not a small improvement. That is a massive, incredible success. It just proves that the plan, the smart policy, and the cool tech, it actually worked. And, this is about so much more than just cleaner rain. It's proof. It's a blueprint. It shows that when we actually identify a problem, we listen to the science, and we find the political will to act, we can solve these enormous environmental threats that seem impossible. So at the end of the day, the story of acid rain isn't just some history lesson. It's a really hopeful precedent. It kind of leaves us with a critical question as we face the challenges of today, doesn't it? We've done it before. So